Children, often seen as symbols of innocence and purity. But what happens when this innocence is tainted by darkness? In today's video, we'll unravel spine-chilling stories of young souls trapped in the clutches of the supernatural with the unexplained. Get ready to hear stories that mix between real life and nightmares. What I'm gonna share might sound unbelievable, and honestly, if it hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't believe it either. I'm known for being a bit dramatic. I can't help it. I just love entertaining my friends with my wild stories and antics. One day after class, I was telling another one of my crazy stories to my classmates. Among them was a new face, a boy I hadn't seen before. He seemed a bit nervous, standing on the edge of our group. We kept glancing around at everyone and lightly giggling along. After introduced myself as Ollie, I found out his name was Eric. When I finished my story, everyone dispersed. Everyone except Eric. As we walked, Eric gradually opened up to me. He told me he had been homeschooled until recently and just wanted to experience a normal teenage life. "And I'll do anything I can to help," I told him. Feeling a sense of friendship, I assured him that he could join me and my friends in our after-school activities. And so, our friendship began. Over the next months, Eric and I spent a lot of time together, hanging out and doing stuff. We both tried out for the school play. While I got a big part, leader of the team, Eric ended up helping behind the scenes with the technical stuff. Even though he didn't get a role, he was still enthusiastic. Then one week, Eric told me about his plan to throw a party at his place while his parents were away. He told me that he was going to invite people individually, because inviting people individually so too many wouldn't find out, and asked me to keep it quiet. I agreed, and didn't tell any of our friends about the party, although it was a little bit of overkill. Friday night came, I knocked on Eric's apartment door. I recognized that it was quiet inside. Then when Eric let me in, I was so confused. Not only was nobody else there, there was nothing else. No furniture, no fridge or stove, basic apartment things. There was none of it. It was completely empty. Then the door slammed shut and the lock slid into place. Where's all your stuff?" I asked, hesitantly. "Stuff?" he asked, with a genuine look of confusion on his face. "You know, like tables and chairs." "Oh, so houses need tables and chairs, thanks for the note," Eric replied. "That's why I liked you, Ollie. You would do anything to help me." Suddenly, I started to feel a little lightheaded. Everything went dark in front of my eyes. "I'm only going to borrow you for a little bit and everything's gonna be okay." I heard Eric's voice whispering, then fading out of my ears, and I passed out. When I woke up, no one there. Eric was gone. I ran home only to find out that 6 months had passed instead, but it's like just a few minutes. I pulled out my phone to check the date, but it was dead. I grabbed my mom's. 6 months? It had been 6 months since I fell unconscious in Eric's empty apartment. How is that possible? I tried to tell my mom about Eric and his strange apartment, but she thought I was joking. But you know what the worst part is? The next morning when I asked about Eric, all my friends acted like Eric never existed. They think that I'm making up everything for attention, but they hung out with him. He was real. I feel desperate. I really don't know what happened, but there is one thing I am very sure of. For 6 months, Eric lived my life, without any of my permission, and I have no idea where he is right now. So please, please, be careful out there, loud. I always felt like my parents didn't like me much. I didn't know why exactly, but I thought maybe because I was a boy, and they'd always hoped for a girl. So when my sister Lauren came along 10 years after me, my parents were surprised but really happy. Our prayers to Satan worked, they joked sometimes. Lauren was definitely their favorite. I have to admit that I kind of felt jealous. She was a bit creepy too, always trying to scare me or staring at me for no reason. Plus, she had this annoying imaginary friend named Lucy. Before Lauren did anything, she had to ask Lucy for permission. Imaginary friends are supposed to help with loneliness, but Lucy seemed mean. I thought it was odd that Lauren made up a friend like that, but she was a strange kid anyway. On her 6th birthday, we went to a fancy theme park out of state and stayed in a nice hotel. My parents went all out for Lauren, buying her lots of souvenirs from the gift shop, hats, shirts, a fancy collectible letter opener and coin, even a giant stuffed animal of Patrick, the theme park mascot. Meanwhile, I turned 16 at home without much fuss anyway. After our first day at the park, we went back to our hotel room. My parents were in the room next door and Lauren and I had our own room. With Lucy, I guess. I wanted to read, but Lauren kept bothering me, mumbling to herself. I got annoyed and told her to go away. She did, but not for long. She came back a little while later, looking scared. I yelled at her again, but she kept mumbling to herself, even louder this time. Then 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes have passed, and I was deep in my book, but I heard Lauren near me again. I heard her saying something weird, and looked up, see her holding a sharp letter opener over me. Then I saw something even more horrifying. Behind her was a scary creature, which I assumed was Lucy, controlling her like a puppet. It all made sense to me now. All Lauren's freak behavior, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She was fighting against Lucy's control. Waves of guilt rushed over me, and I regretted hating my sister for so many years. Just as I was about to grab the letter opener from her hands, she said, "Take me instead," and the blade plunged into her tiny body. I screamed my head off, made my parents rush in, saw me hovered over my sister's bleeding body, thinking I did it, of course. I tried to explain that I didn't do it, and that it was all Lucy's fault, and their fault for selling their soul to Lucifer in the first place. But it was no use for them. So, that's why I'm here, locked away by my own parents. They never visit me, though. Well, they finally got rid of me, just like I'm pretty sure they always wanted. But they lost their little girl too, and honestly, I'm a little worried. I'm worried they might try for another child. Again. Once upon a time, in a quiet countryside, there were 2 young sisters named Annie and Belle. Their days were filled with fun as they roamed the fields around their small house. Their mom was gentle and kind, always looking out for them. One day, while they were exploring near the road, Annie and Belle met another girl playing alone. She was tapping on a strange drum. They were curious and went closer to see. The drum made little toy figures dance, which amazed Annie and Belle. They asked the girl if they could have the drum. The girl said it was special and asked for something big in return. Annie and Belle were eager to know what she wanted. The girl said they had to go home and do really bad things. Then, if they told her all the bad things they did, she might give them the drum. What if we just told her we did bad things? And the little brother suggested, it's not like she'd know anyway, right? So the next day, Annie and Belle returned and lied to the girl, saying they did lots of bad stuff. We were very bad, Belle lied. Yeah, Annie chimed in. We wrote all over our walls, we threw our supper on the floor, and we screamed all night. Now can we have the drum? But the girl didn't believe them. Not so fast. I know that you're lying to me, the girl said. She told them to come back with proof tomorrow, then she will give them her toy. The sisters agreed again and walked away, annoyed, while the girl giggled at them. Annie and Belle decided to make a big mess at home before their mom came back from work so that they could clean up and explain everything to her. They tore up pillows, mutilated their stuffed animals, even smashed their mother's favorite vase. They thought this would be enough to convince the girl to give them the drum. They took the torn-up pillows and pieces of vase and brought it to the girl. But the little girl rolled her eyes. You both clearly don't know what bad is. You should just go back home. She turned her back towards the sisters and continued playing with her drum. See, both sisters seemed confused. The mysterious girl asked for something even worse, their mom's blood. Scared and shocked, Annie and Belle realized the drum wasn't worth it. As they tried to leave, the girl warned them that once they made a deal, they couldn't change it. "I will be taking something that's yours." The sisters hurried home, running as fast as they could. They called out for their mother, but she was nowhere. Their home was empty, no furniture, no rooms. Just a big empty space with a single door pulsating with a rhythmic thud. As the walls started shaking and the roof was vibrating, the sisters ran outside. But they couldn't move freely. Their bodies felt stiff and wooden, moving by themselves to the drum beat. Above them, the mysterious girl, now looking so bigger and scarier, banged on the drum,